What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Recording. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. I definitely plan on working Saturday. We're getting near the end of the year, and there's a lot going on. I'll probably have at least one or two videos for you tomorrow and maybe a live stream. I'm still going to keep Sundays to myself, but I feel like there's a lot going on. I want to follow up on all the stories. But this one is an interesting article from Vice, which is, by the way, under... just facing a $300 million lawsuit for not disclosing their, surveillance methodology properly. But there's a meme put out there by Luke Rudkowski that I think was a great way to start. It shows, obviously, Dave Chappelle here, your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. Knock Down the House, a documentary film with a 99% critic score, down to a 10% audience score with over 5,000 ratings. 91% tomato reader for the Fauci documentary with a 2% audience score. Cuties, of course, getting 88% on the tomato meter with 16% on the audience score. And then you see Dave Chappelle's The Closer with a 33% in the tomato meter and 97% audience score. Rotten Tomatoes reviews are the culture war's new battlefield. I don't know where Vice has been. That's basically been the case for the past 5 years. Of course, it's a Gita Jackson reject from Kotaku, now writing for the shell of what is Vice. It is interesting to say the least. They are spinning this as a right-winger thing. Again, I don't consider myself a right-winger. I would argue that probably half of my audience doesn't consider themselves right-wingers either, but it's always the same tired excuses from ideologues like Gita Jackson with no evidence whatsoever. It all comes down to the review brigading thing. Remember this with The Last of Us 2, talking about how, the game is amazing, actually. It's just everybody that likes the game is busy playing it and not leaving any positive reviews. The argument, of course, is that right-wing people are voting up the Dave Chappelle special to own the libs. But where are all the negative libs who hated it? They're not involved. They're not there. America's tedious and exhausting culture war has been fought on many fronts over the years. Rotten Tomatoes, which aggregates movies and television reviews, is apparently the newest one. Actually, Gita, no, this has been basically since The Last Jedi and Captain Marvel. Rotten Tomatoes literally changed their entire review system because of Captain Marvel and The Last Jedi. You forget that because you're not an actual journalist. Right-wingers have noticed that there's a difference between reviews by professional critics and self-reported one by audience members. This has never happened before. I don't know, again, why this is framed as a right-wing, left-wing issue. I suppose when you are obsessed with politics, that's all you ever see in life. Rotten Tomatoes has been a useful resource for moviegoers since 1998 when it launched. Initially, it indexed reviews from professional critics at a wide variety of outlets, expressing them as a score ranging from fresh to rotten. The site now allows users to leave their own reviews, which are expressed on the same scale. Over the past few years, it has attracted political actors, especially right-wing ones, to the site to review big pop culture events like Marvel movies. This is part of a broader cottage industry. Weirdos on YouTube. I wonder what this is. Jealous much, Gita? Hi. Leave like to say hi to Gita, everybody. Click that red subscribe button down below to say hi to Gita, everybody. For example, make dozens of videos about box office numbers of Marvel movies with non-white male leads in order to make a central point about how being woke, i.e. making movies starring people who aren't white, lead to poor box office numbers. This is not consistently true. That isn't the point that is being made either. Second of all, certainly there are movies who have white male leads that are also accused of being woke. I mean, we just went through the James Bond movie. See, these people don't have any memory. It's like these idiots that on Twitter, that are always bringing up, oh, you made 50 videos on Brie Larson. Yeah. And now it's a meme on my channel. And I've made, thousands of videos overall. Okay. It's a small percentage overall, but yes, there are plenty of movies with white male leads that got woke and went broke. This week, the culture miasma has spilled out just beyond the nerd sphere as Fox News and The Federalist have both noticed that there are big differences between professional and amateur reviews of two recent productions. Fox notes that although critics agreed Rotten Tomatoes do not like Dave Chappelle's new special, The Closer, more than 1,000 ratings collected to give it a 96%. I think it's 98 now. The Federalist target is the National Geographic documentary about Dr. Anthony Fauci. The publication previously noted for allowing an unlicensed dermatologist to suggest people throw coof parties. Gotta get that in there. Saying that the critics gave it a 94%, but people give it a 2. Something being popular with critics and not being popular with audience is not news. Critics love the nearly 3-hour Soviet film Stalker, while most people in the other part of the world haven't even heard of it. The idea that critics live in a bubble that puts them out of touch with real salt-of-the-earth folks is not only an obvious and not very interesting truism. Most people don't watch movies for a living, but also it's been brought up over and over and over again, often by critics themselves, just like your stance on The Last Jedi. Making a thing of this mostly signals your political allegiance rather than your taste. That's actually, again, incorrect. I think that, pointing this stuff out, I don't think says anything about my political allegiance. What it says to me is that critics suck and that they should be ignored and that you should subscribe to my YouTube channel and that you should subscribe to other people's YouTube channels like The Critical Drinker. Okay? That's what my point is. My point isn't about who I voted for. In 2019, Rotten Tomatoes said that it will be working on making changes on how the audience scores aggregated because it knows that the platform is vulnerable to review brigading. By the way, it happens with positive reviews too. It specifically cited issues with review brigades on Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and the all-female reboot of Ghostbusters. I don't remember any backlash to Black Panther. Do you? I remember there was like some hilarity where these white liberal movie reviewers were like talking about how this was an earth-shattering thing for the black community and it got a little over the top. But I don't remember people flooding the site with negative. Maybe I just missed that. It's entirely possible. What's missing from the Fox News and the Federalist analyses is the most basic thing anyone needs to know about this. The numbers on Rotten Tomatoes page for The Closer. There are 7 reviews from professional critics and over 2,500 from audience members. Netflix shows first don't usually this kind of reaction from the public. Don't draw at Squid Game, the most popular show in the service's history, has just over 1,500, which shows that this is not simply about the masses loving Chappelle's show. That's a leap. I could see how maybe you would get there if you wanted it to be true. The argument, I think the point that she's trying to make is that when things get politically charged, people are more inclined to leave a review. And I think I would probably agree with that. Squid Game has, for the most part, avoided controversy, and controversy inspires people to show support, but it also inspires, I would say, without any evidence going against it, we could say the exact same number of people who hate something to go out and leave negative support, right? I mean, we saw all the backlash to Captain Marvel with people leaving negative reviews. We saw the backlash against Chappelle, people leaving positive reviews. So people do it in both directions. The fact that there's only a few number of, a small number of reviews doesn't really matter. You could see Spectre World, Rotten Tomatoes, and the cultural gap between critics and audiences. Chappelle's special shows just how wide it can be. Again, this is just, you look at the last, there's thus a clear divide between what the media believes audience should be enjoying and what audiences choose to enjoy. Rotten Tomatoes is an imperfect system to measure this kind of split, but also can't be written off wholesale. Perhaps it's just another vehicle to confirm the priors of a mass audience in intimate settings using flawed and exploitable metrics, or perhaps there's something deeper and Dave Chappelle and the audiences know something the mass media gatekeepers don't. Well, they do. I think that when you have a movie that is relatively free of controversy, I suppose if you look at a movie like Toy Story, I'd be willing to bet that both the Rotten Tomatoes critics review and the viewer score is high. But when you have a movie that is, politicized, whether intentionally or not intentionally by its creators or the media, both can do it, then you get a higher variance in the score's reliability. I don't think that Dave Chappelle's The Closer is a 98 out of 100. I don't even think it's probably in his top, it's probably not in his top 3 stand-up specials. It's good. It's probably an 85 or 90, but it's not a 98. So the score becomes less reliable, but that is driven by the politicization of it by the media or by the said creator. For example, with Captain Marvel, it was the numerous interviews and sound bites of Brie Larson that led people to dislike the movie without even seeing it. Same thing with The Last Jedi. We saw the Mary Sue character. It wasn't because people didn't like Daisy Ridley. It was because people strongly disliked Kathleen Kennedy and all this garbage about the Force being female. Stay mad, critics. Nobody cares what you have to say. Your job is literally irrelevant. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.